Because I see a lot of people, like, people always bring up the fighter pay with the UFC, but what's like, isn't Logan complaining right now checks from Floyd? Is that like a boxing issue versus
you don't
a boxing thing?
You don't ever hear that coming out. You hear a guy going, I want to make $30 million, I didn't get paid enough. You don't ever hear guys going, yeah, they didn't pay me yet, ever.
Is that like a boxing issue?
What happens when you go in and you do these fights and you make them, and Hunter, correct me if I'm wrong, you do these fights that are exhibitions or whatever, the commission isn't overseeing it. So let's say with Mike, I got Mike fighting, Francis or something. The athletic commission gets the money up front. So they pay the fighter.
Away. The last thing you really need in your life is for things to go wrong. You were showing off how you were a big shot financially when you didn't have to, really. You didn't have to do that. And now you have this egg on your face and things are falling apart. And now people are wondering, did you get screwed or was it your own financial ignorance?
Now, he's accused in multiple lawsuits, all right, of owing millions for luxury watches, gold, and rent. Well, on the apartment that we just talked about, okay? And so he's got about, I counted about 6.
Dana White spoke out against Floyd Mayweather's decision to go after another fight with Manny Pacquiao, suggesting the motivation behind it is financial. He described the move as disappointing and raised doubts about Mayweather's current financial stability.
Do what they got to do and say what they got to say to try to, get in there and make money. It's not even going to be funny. It's going to be bad.
Logan Paul stated that Floyd Mayweather has yet to pay him what he is owed from their exhibition bout. He implied that this situation could point to money-related concerns, while also bringing attention to questions surrounding Mayweather's current financial responsibilities and overall financial condition.
Up doing the fight in the States with a different company. That is the company that put on the fight. That is the company that paid. But he sold our fight with my name and likeness to someone else in Dubai for $10 million cash. It's our fight, bro. Our deal was 15%. He fucking smoked me. So I got 15% of it. 15% of $10 million is $1.5 million. That company that paid him that money is suing him. I actually don't know the status on that lawsuit. I should check in because he still owes me money, but he has a bunch of legal trouble at the moment that I don't think I'm ever getting the money.
He just sold his house in Vegas.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I think he's facing a bunch.
Rinsed on that house. He started at $14 million. He custom built the house, by the way, in like 2006.
Yeah.
Started at 14, reduced to 12,
yeah.
10, 8 came on the market, and it was a lot of house for.
Dana White explained that Floyd Mayweather made enormous amounts of money throughout his career, with his largest earnings coming from the high-profile bout against Conor McGregor.
Biggest fights you've ever had? Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, which ironically is a boxing event, but it's the biggest combat sports fight ever. What did that? It did 4.4, 4.5 million buys at $100 a buy. Yeah, so that worked out okay.
According to Wade Plemons, Floyd Mayweather handled his finances poorly in the early stages of his career. Once his prime years were over, he continued stepping back into the ring multiple times, using exhibition bouts as a way to earn money again.
Way back, again, 5 years ago now, but that was like the initial rumblings around that fight. And what Floyd did was use Mayweather Promotions to bring them this fight and say, if you'll front us this money, we'll put this fight here. They fronted him the money. He took the money, had the fight at the Hard Rock in Miami with Fanmio instead. That was the company that put it on, Fanmio. And Logan saw none of that front end 10 mil. And the people that paid Floyd the 10 mil never saw a dime back. It's nasty work what he did. But this has been like one of Floyd's MOs, is that he leverages his fight name or his quote unquote assets, and which is what, a lot of wealthy people do. They leverage their assets to take out bigger loans or, whatever. But Floyd does it in such a reckless way that no one ever sees return on it. He just takes money. It isn't a loan, he steals.
Joe Rogan stated that Floyd Mayweather handled his wealth recklessly, embracing an extravagant lifestyle and spending as if the money would never run out, a habit that may have contributed to financial difficulties.
Crazy. So you buy a watch and a car, you're down 10. That's nuts. That's nuts.
Crazy.
I remember Iran Barkley was talking about that. Iran Barkley, when he was in his prime, was hanging out with all these professional athletes, and everybody was getting diamond crusted chains and this and that, and he was keeping up with these people. Like, you got to keep up with the Joneses. And he just found himself like draining all of his money. He was talking about it like that was the biggest detriment to him being able to save any money.
They trying to keep up.
Yeah, which I thought was funny when I was listening to this conversation with Chad Ochocinco. He was talking about it. He was like,
his jewelry fake.
Yeah, he was wearing fake jewelry.
But who would know?
What's that?
Who would know? He
No
Chad
one know.
Ochocinco.
Exactly.
It's
Fake
like when they look
jewelry,
at him, like
flying economy. He was sleeping at the stadium.
Teddy Atlas explained that some people now take a sense of satisfaction in seeing Floyd Mayweather face difficulties, believing it stems from the years he openly showcased his wealth and created envy through his lifestyle.
Taking shots at a great fighter, Mayweather. Probably the same people that were, applauding him and saying how great he was at one point, and now they're taking shots at him like they're almost, like they get pleasure out of seeing a great fall. Potentially
You're right.
fall. Oh yeah, like you said, he was Mayweather, Money Mayweather, and now he's suing because he went through his money, he blew his money, whatever. Look, I don't know what the truth is fully in there. I know Steven Espinoza was named. He ran Showtime at the time. He was named him. I never was a fan of Espinoza. Again, I'm not afraid to say and not mince my words when I feel a certain way. And I've taken arrows for it, and of course I've also taken some praise for it. That people say, hey, Teddy's going to say what he feels. I was never a fan of him. I never thought he was a man that kept his word. I never thought he really did a great job over at Showtime. I mean, they put some good fights on because the fights were available, because the landscape made it.
Dan Raphael pointed out that the financial concerns currently being discussed about Floyd Mayweather Jr. are not unexpected when his career and way of living are carefully examined. He suggested that anyone who followed Mayweather over the years could have seen this possibility coming based on how openly he managed and displayed his money. Throughout his time in the spotlight, Mayweather built a reputation around wealth and indulgence, regularly highlighting a life filled with private jets, luxury cars, designer brands, and costly trips. These were not rare moments, but a consistent part of his public persona, shaping how he was perceived by audiences.
Contact my people again later, and hopefully I can get it this afternoon to actually read the specifics of the suit and what the allegations are. But the fact that Floyd would encounter some financial issues post his boxing career is not in any way a surprise to me. When you see the types of things that, when if you believe anything that he puts on his social media, the travel that he does, the places he goes, and the amount of entourage he has, I mean, that's like a money pit. I mean, whether you're flying on private jets or you're staying at first class hotels, or you're buying expensive jewelry and cars and bags and you name it. I mean, it's all good when you're making those gigantic paydays and they're coming in, a couple times a year. You're making 40 million here and 25 million there, or even more, 100 million plus, when he fought the big mega fights with guys like Conor McGregor and Manny Pacquiao. But when that stops, that money doesn't, it goes.
Although this image projected power and success, it also sparked questions about whether it could be maintained over time. Dan Raphael noted that sustaining such an expensive way of living demands strong financial discipline, particularly after retirement, when steady income is reduced. Without proper planning, even huge fortunes can gradually decline. That he emphasized that the real issue is not the amount of money earned, but how it is managed and protected. With ongoing reports of financial pressure and Mayweather's continued participation in exhibition bouts, the current situation seems to align with those earlier concerns. What once appeared to be endless wealth now underscores the need for careful decisions and long-term financial control beyond a successful boxing career.
Allegations about the 340 million, it just didn't ring true to me, because Al Heyman, who is not named in the suit, but apparently is supposedly part of this problem, whatever. But I mean, I've known Al Heyman and covered Al Heyman's fighters and his business since the day he stepped in boxing in like 2002 with Vernon Forrest. And all that time, and literally in terms of the PBC, a couple hundred fighters that he's dealt with maybe not personally, but that his team is and his company, to a fighter. You never hear anybody, even when they're retired or they're not with Al anymore, nobody talks bad about him. In fact, if you ask most fighters, they'll tell you how good to them that he has been, that type of money that they've helped him make, and the person that he's paid, and the guidance that he's offered.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. built his reputation by consistently showcasing a life of luxury, creating the impression of unlimited wealth and financial control. However, according to the Boxing A Go host, recent updates point to a very different reality behind the scenes. The analysis draws attention to an unexpected financial decline, including legal action filed by Mayweather against major business associates. Throughout his career, he worked closely with key figures such as Steven Espinoza and partnered with major platforms like Showtime, relationships that helped generate huge fight revenues and worldwide visibility. Now, a reported $340 million lawsuit claims that a large portion of those earnings was never properly paid out.
We are going to go through in this video. Now, I've been covering boxing for double-digit years. Allow me to take you through it. A simple Google search shows Floyd Mayweather. You type in his name, you're going to see some fight photos and whatnot. But the top stories, and there's multiple stories, and we're going to take a look at some of them. But as mentioned, Business Insider is now reporting what you see on the screen, that Floyd Mayweather is being accused in lawsuits of owing millions of dollars for luxury watches, gold, and rent on palatial apartment, right? The bullet points. Floyd was sued for allegedly failing to pay rent.
This scenario brings up significant concerns about financial oversight, contract clarity, and strategic planning within professional boxing. The stark difference between Mayweather's previous public image and the current legal battles presents a story that many did not anticipate. What was once seen as total financial mastery now appears far more complex, highlighting that even the most accomplished careers can encounter uncertainty when business arrangements lack transparency.
Some represents the $500K, $500,000 in arrears plus late fees minus a deposit that Mayweather paid at the start of the lease and the $100,000 catch-up payment. So they deducted what he did submit when he was made aware of this, the $100K, and I guess a deposit. So the remaining balance is that. An attorney for Mayweather did not provide a comment by deadline. He has not responded to the lawsuit in court. In a separate legal matter, so we've already went over one with this luxury condo in Manhattan, right? But a separate legal matter, a Miami jeweler sued Floyd Mayweather last month, alleging the boxer owes more than $1 million for jewelry that he took but never paid.
Coach Malachi states that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is currently embroiled in a significant legal battle, alleging that approximately $340 million was either misappropriated or mismanaged in transactions involving Steven Espinoza and Showtime. He points out that the way these agreements were structured might have limited accountability for certain people, particularly Al Haymon. If the contract terms are as written, Malachi explains, this would clarify why Al Haymon is not named in the lawsuit.
It's in the contract. Guess what? Al Haymon is clear. And now it explains why Floyd don't have Al Haymon in the lawsuit. He can't sue. Al covered his tracks. Now, he may be getting sued by big corporations, stuff like that, but he's not being sued by any fighter. They can't sue him. You get what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather messed up. And adds insult to injury, Floyd Mayweather has a gambling problem and he spends a lot of money. He loves to spend money. So whatever he have that's in his possession, he's spending that and blowing that on top of the $340 million that he said that's owed to him. Meaning that he never really got paid from the Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor fight. Al Haymon got power of attorney. You dig? And he covered his tracks. So shout out to the brother man, Al Haymon. You did a good job.
The conversation emphasizes how intricate financial agreements in boxing can shield key individuals from legal repercussions. At the same time, Malachi notes that personal spending habits also play a significant role, highlighting that Floyd Mayweather Jr. has a history of high expenditures, including substantial gambling and luxury purchases. He adds that even while pursuing claims for unpaid earnings from major fights against top opponents, money management has remained an ongoing issue. Overall, the situation reflects a combination of complex contract structures and personal financial choices, creating a challenging mix of business strategy and lifestyle decisions within the sport.
When you've been praising him and worshiping him, continue to praise him and worship him. You get what I'm saying? You dig? True. And another thing, let's thank Al Heyman.
Well, you know, I guess I gotta be like everybody else and thank Al Heyman.
That's what y'all been doing. You pro Al Heyman and PBC YouTube channels, and a lot of you fan bases online. That's what you've been doing. Continue to praise him then. Al is a smart businessman. He finessed the game. Let's give Al Heyman a round of applause. Good job, Al. You did a good job. And this is a lesson to all of those out there, you know, who think because you signed with the black man that you will not be taken advantage of and the white man is the evil devil. If that's your position, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with however you feel either way. But just understand, when someone wants to steal from you, they don't recognize.
Tasha K points out that even when Floyd Mayweather Jr. seems to possess immense wealth, the reality behind the scenes can be far more complicated. High earnings don't always guarantee full financial security, particularly when hidden obligations, ongoing agreements, and delayed payments remain out of public view. According to her, these unseen financial pressures can accumulate over time, putting anyone in a challenging position, no matter how prosperous they appear outwardly.
Was too distracted, spending. And when you see somebody like Floyd Mayweather, that's the oldest trick in the book, y'all. Y'all know. When y'all see somebody flogging money everywhere, they got this, they got that, they got this. Was it Gervonta Davis? Tank told us 2 years ago that the reason they held Floyd Mayweather, you can put it back on the screen, captain, in Dubai is because he had owed them money and they wouldn't release him until he announced the fight to give them their money back. You know they do that over there in Dubai, right? You ain't going nowhere if you owe a debt. He was trapped over there for almost 2 months, according to Gervonta. They shared the same manager, Al Layman, who collected money in cash because Floyd Mayweather gave him a power of attorney to do so. And so when Floyd went down there and sued Showtime, he's suing Showtime, the company, the network, that publicizes these fights.
She points out a common financial pitfall: spending freely while obligations quietly pile up. In Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s case, his constant displays of luxury may suggest endless wealth. Yet behind that facade, there are likely significant expenses, investments, and commitments that demand steady cash flow. When income slows or becomes unpredictable, these responsibilities can quickly create strain. Tasha K's insight underscores that true wealth isn't just about earnings, but also about managing money wisely over time. Without careful oversight, even enormous fortunes can become pressured, showing how financial overextension can quietly turn apparent success into stress when spending remains high and unseen liabilities grow.
Gave his money in cash to his manager, Al Layman, and Al Layman spent the money. The Muslim in the bow tie spent the money. You see a man coming and he a Muslim in a bow tie, he's spending your money. Oh, it's gone. It's good, it's gone. You know they send the Nation of Islam down there. You seen the Muhammad Ali story? Don't act like you ain't seen that. Nation of Islam was all up over there. They were all up over Floyd Mayweather's fights and bank accounts and stuff. And so he received it in cash, and Floyd Mayweather is saying he's missing it and how dare Showtime gives him the money without his permission. He was like, well, wait a minute, but you gave him permission. Yeah, but I didn't tell y'all, I told him. So he's trying to use a way to get in there so he can hold him responsible because he know he's not going to get the money back from the Nation of Islam at all. That money gone. That money gone.
Paulie Molinaggi explains that much of the attention on Floyd Mayweather Jr. stems from how openly he flaunted his wealth during his career. According to him, if Mayweather had kept his finances private, far fewer people would be questioning his current situation. Instead, the constant display of luxury sparked curiosity and drew closer scrutiny from fans and analysts. Over time, Mayweather crafted a public persona focused on affluence, consistently showcasing pricey cars, private jets, and large amounts of cash.
He was seeing how much Floyd was making, right? And Floyd himself was flaunting himself like he was the guy who was making that kind of money. And for all intents and purposes, I assume he was. Everybody assumed he was, and it seemed like he thought he was because he wasn't complaining. He was showing off, you know? This is why, as I get older, I feel like, and everybody always tells you this when you're young, like, keep your finances private, you know, and this is why I think this is a big reason why. First and foremost, you notice that if you don't keep your finances private, everybody and their mothers ask you for money constantly. And they don't ask you for...
That happens either way.
And they don't ask you... Well, people assume you have money, but if you flaunt it, you definitely... They confirm you have money. And they don't ask you for money like you need to buy the Rolex or the Lamborghini. They'll guilt you into it. They need their mother's dying in the hospital. They need to pay for a funeral. Their kid is...
While this approach helped build his brand, it also meant that any changes in financial stability would be highly visible. Malin Aji notes that this exposure has led people to scrutinize not only Mayweather's current finances, but also his past money management and investment choices. The focus isn't just on whether he is struggling financially, but on the perception created by years of openly displaying wealth. When someone projects an image of limitless riches, any shift becomes immediately noticeable. Malin Aji suggests that maintaining more financial privacy could have reduced much of this speculation. Now every decision, investment, and long-term financial move is closely examined, keeping questions about his financial planning in the spotlight.
I don't know, honestly, but offhand, you're asking me what my thoughts are offhand. I can never... Listen, when I had a lot of money, I was a lot of times spending more, and I wasn't tracking every single cent, right? I was kind of reckless. I was young. I was, you know, a pro athlete. I went from having nothing to having a bunch of money. So yeah, I'm not always tracking it as well as I should. But bro, if I'm missing a lot of difference money, if there's a huge difference, I'm gonna track it automatically just because it's so obvious. 340 million, no matter how much money you're making, 340 million does not slip through the cracks like you said.
Third of $1 billion.
Like, it's not. You know, I don't know, like there's guys who have a lot of money, okay? For me, I could go into a jewelry store, spend 20,000 at the time, like nothing. Like, you know what, I didn't plan on going there. I bought a Ferrari. I went with my friend to go check out a Ferrari. He was...
And that wraps up today's video.